Okay, yeah. Yeah, we're on. We're live with the IC Bullet going at you guys. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Those of you who are, which is nobody, I'm sure. But that's okay, because you're here for the next hour to go ahead and get it, man. We try to get the stuff done, talk about comics, talk about our thing. We have 40 minutes. 40 minutes. Not right. It took us a long time to set up. Yeah, which is I don't understand. Which is par for the course. That is a lot of it there. So, and gaming news. I have not made the Ideal Comics game RPG quite yet. It's not done yet. Oh, yeah. It's in beta. So why do we have two cameras on? We each have a camera on us and nothing on you. That doesn't make any sense. Like if I change angles, it's just meaning. Hi, Mom. So there you go. That's a weird one.
I gave myself kind of a close haircut.
Cut your own hair.
I cut
Next time I'll get the back. That's part of why I look at my hair. I've actually never paid for hair. You know what? I don't pay for haircuts anymore either. My mom used to cut my hair back in the day when I was little, of course. Yes. And then when I was in college, a guy taught me how to cut it short. I used to cut it short. And then I decided to start wearing it long. And that's pretty much it. It's a short couple times my wife cut it.
I used to have, like in my 20s.
Who does not have their mic muted? I'm getting two mics. It says I'm muted. I'm picking up the audio from your computer. There we go. Now it says you're muted.
Would someone tell that jerk?
Oh, why? What? Right now? You do. Terribly confused. Yeah, I've got the mic plugged in. Yep.
Hey, look at Rico.
Okay, there you go. Hey, Rico, how's it going?
How you doing?
Rico was working last week and he missed all our big conversations.
Yes.
Our deep, productive.
I got to go in for some wayward early 20-year-old because I didn't feel like working. Isn't that great?
Do we need more lights?
That's
Is the lighting right?
worst.
Should I hit the lights and hit the lights?
The lights? You want to hit the lights? I don't know why. What lights are we talking about, Barry?
The
More
production lights, Reese.
Okay. All right, let's see it. Let's see it.
We only went one. That one, I don't have my first record. That one way over there.
Gonna make us look white.
It's gonna make us look pastier. Or Rico, he'll look more angelic.
Rico will look just white. The rest of us will look.
Reach.
I will look a slightly more gold tint of brown.
It'll gleam.
There, see, we're not all so washed out. Just me.
Well,
Let's see here. There's me. I look about normal, except
Yeah, you got more color.
yeah, a little more color. And there's Rico. He's got just
Yes.
one half his face that is just made of light.
yes.
And then there's Barry.
It's like Roscoe.
We're just gonna move on from Barry. We don't need
Well,
Hey, Barry hides from the screen.
love Barry.
That's hilarious. Okay. Yeah, here.
Hi, Barry.
Hello.
Barry. Live control room. I'm gonna pop out the chat so I can set it up on my screen as a separate window. Because I found out how to do that, which is pretty handy. It looks like we may actually have some people watching here.
Hey, we have me and somebody else.
Yep.
Wow. Hi.
Hello, somebody else. If you'd like to say something in the chat, we'll probably address you like another human being.
Hello.
We're taking. Actually, we're.
Hello, fellow human. Would you like to participate in the?
Actually, we're taking
You
singing
get
requests.
you get prizes.
We're taking singing requests.
But
We do.
we'll only do Al Green songs. That's not
Yes.
true. I don't know any Al Green songs. I just thought it'd be
I
funny.
do. Al Green.
Yeah.
I gotta think. Green.
I mean, I'm aware of Al Green, but I just don't think I really know Al Green. You know what I mean?
No one really knows Al Green. You might hear Al Green, but you know. Okay, here we go. Al Green. So in love with you. All right, you got
Yeah, I don't.
I know that song. I'm
It's
just waiting for me to
alright
remember.
with me.
Yeah, I don't. I've heard it. I couldn't sing it. It's outside of my personal.
Yeah, you're a little
favorite.
different.
Yeah.
So bad you. That's the best I'm gonna be able to do. Al Green, ladies and gentlemen.
Al Green.
Oh,
So what were we talking?
We were talking
We
we were
talking
talking
about
about how I have given up on the Avengers, and I gave my reasons, and then we decided we should start the stream, and Barry is showing off some art there that is an expressionist expositioner. There you go. That's
So
expressionist.
exposition is being expression.
yeah, it's almost a pun or something.
Well, I don't know. It's like so. What is that? So when he's
I don't know.
he's about
Expressionism.
well, he's an
Expressionism.
not only is he a expositioner, the expressionist.
Expressionist.
We are sorry.
Say that.
Expressionist or
We are sorry ahead of time.
Mr. Expressionist or what? That's crazy thought. One of the things we talked about last week is we wanted to go ahead and drop.
Hello, chat. Sorry, I have a lot of coffee in me. Keep going.
Okay.
So, Reese.
That's what she said.
Whoa! I do not. I have a lot of coffee in me. That's
Oh,
one thing
my.
they ever told me. I have a lot of coffee in me.
Just
Keep going. Yeah,
Just keep going.
Yeah. It's hot coffee time.
I'll fall asleep.
Yeah, I am not gonna fall asleep this time.
Just keep going.
Just keep going.
Oh my.
Oh, good God.
Baby.
It's good to be alive.
It's good.
It's not a bad thing, that's
Yeah,
for sure.
All right, so
Yes.
us Ideal Comics guys were talking about how much we hate the Avengers.
Yeah.
Now they've turned against us because they have seriously become.
You're
Hail
ruining it for
Hydra.
me because I
How
want to see it.
ironic
I don't know, man.
that Chris Evans is now a complete, what is that? Reflecting art. When reality reflects art, Captain America, Hail Hydra. Chris Evans, Hail Hydra.
Well, part of Chris Evans' deal.
I'm
I
just
know.
kidding. I love Chris Evans as Captain America. We've covered that. I have said that more.
I liked him as Johnny Storm too.
Yeah, okay, let's just skip going to that.
I'm not saying the movie was great.
Yeah.
I'm saying it was a solid performance.
Yeah,
he was young. He was
yeah.
brash. You
yeah,
know,
no,
he was
yeah,
bold. All
Chris
the
Evans
things
is a
Johnny
good
Storm
actor. I
wanted
don't
to be.
think he's really
Yeah.
giving me a performance that I have really said, well, this is bad.
He was kind of a snooze in the losers, but that whole movie was kind of a
That
snooze.
whole movie was a disappointment.
Yeah, it really was. It's like-
Disappointment.
Well, I think part of it is, and I haven't read the
comic.
comic.
Indie
Well,
comic.
I've read the original comic, right? The losers.
Not the relaunch.
Yeah, I haven't read the relaunch, right? But the original comic, part of what it was it was all these World War II characters that had been solo features that they put them together in a team book. So you had the Sarge and what's his name from the Haunted Tank. They were they crossed over with Captain Storm. So they had Army, Navy,
Captain
and then there was Johnny
Storm.
Cloud, who was a Native American fighter pilot, who was the Air Force. And then they had somebody from the Marines, and so it was the four branches as five different
It's probably
soldiers.
Billy Green from Marines.
I can't remember who it was
Yeah.
right now, but I mean it was, and they were. But the thing is, they were all the last surviving people of their crew or platoon, right? And so they had all these adventures in World War II, but they were the last ones to survive, and they weren't able to save their buddies. So they all had this weird grief. And they all ran in together and became like this freelance combat team, right? And it worked really well. It was a fun little thing. They each had their own thing. That's why they're the losers, is because they weren't able to succeed in saving their other crew guys. And so that was just part of the shtick.
Yeah.
And then the new losers were just like kind of, according to the movie anyway, were like a lame Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they were.
it was like Red without the charm. I don't know.
So yeah, so it was disappointing movie. Yeah, so
Chris
yeah,
Evans
a
was-
lot of good actors and a lot of
good
decent
actors.
names.
And the special effects were good, obviously. You know, that's just sort of how that goes.
You know. Anyway, so we're sorry, but let's go ahead and go back to we just wasted 5 minutes. We now have 30 minutes left.
Yeah. So we were wanting to go ahead and drop our initial price for digital level.
Yeah, very
$4.
great idea. Like tier 1 is $3, right?
I always said 4.
No,
Maybe
we
it's
said
3.
We said 3.
3 for digital, and then for the 5 for the paper book, and then like 8 for paper book plus
Movies.
goodies. We need to write it down.
Right.
We do. I thought you said you were going to. Oh no, remember you didn't say. You said no. It's up here.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
and then I had a whole week. And I
Then
it's pretty close.
what happens is life happens.
Yeah, life
and
happens.
with anybody else, time I would say.
And being old.
Yeah. So
Well, you probably sent like a word.
this is why we
something.
Yeah, that's
finally
what
write things
That's
down.
what I'm gonna do. So give me just a second here.
So we'll just have to decide what.
Actually, there's
Goodies
two
are-
things I need to do.
Movies.
I've
We
been.
had a centerfold.
Yeah, somebody said, can't remember who it was. Was it Carl
It was Carl.
saying boob cell?
Boobs. So
They do.
I was like,
They're
They do.
magic.
so
They do.
he's like, that's
I
it.
mean,
We need a boob level.
I
I
was-
was just like,
our money
Yeah.
shot was not here.
all
We go.
of our. I said we have one female character in this story, and
No, we
she's
didn't-
like 50.
No,
She looks good.
we don't need to tell them that they're like, you know,
She's also alien, so I think she's.
we don't need to
yeah.
tell them that they're like female boobs. Though we can all just kind of like.
That's what I was saying. Rico,
Our big our shirts, you know, just like hey,
Oh, it's the man boob level.
the ideal comic,
That's-
man
that's-
boob calendar. You know,
That is despicable.
That's even better. I like that.
That is despicable. That is absolutely
That's
disgusting.
correct. Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is.
I like it even more now.
Yes, because it's disgusting. You can't go through life without disgusting.
Yeah. Disgusting makes you
You can try.
appreciate
That's right.
pretty even more.
All the disgusting things we ate as kids were good for you.
Yeah, like slugs.
Yeah.
And there we go. I know you're thinking about it.
Broccoli.
No, you're thinking about poo.
No. I haven't gone there.
All right.
Really? No one.
Barry,
there was-
you're in strange form today.
There
Barry.
You're being. I don't even want.
Now, Goody, I did some research on like foldable posters, you know, but the guy I was dealing with was a dick, and he didn't want to, you know, say, "Oh, I thought you wanted to order like 1,000 of them."
Well, and part of it too is like, I mean, my thought is I'd like to have ones that we can actually just put in the book. They print along with the books, part of the print file.
Right.
So we format them as 2-page spreads, but they're centerfold for like
Do you have
one, and then a stretch goal for 2.
Did you have any luck, you know, finding anything like that?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's simple. You draw it big, you scan it in, and we just format it like a 2-page spread on the center page. So
Okay.
instead of like right now, there's 28 pages in the outline. So we do a 32-page book, but pages, 15, 16, 17, and 56, 17, and 18 are blank. I mean, 15 and 18 are blank, 16 and 17
We'll
are
have
the
like a
2-page
poster.
spread. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
And it's not going to, I mean, the difference for the cost of 4 pages is so negligible that we can put that on to start with, and everybody gets one. The only trick we have is that we got to make sure that when we design the book, the actual centerfold is not a 2-page spread.
Right.
So that way, but if they don't pull the poster out, they can still read the comic with no problem.
Okay. So, kitties. Cool.
Magic. So which one of us is going to be the issue one center?
Well, money
What about
shots.
race?
Now that you're back.
Oh, good God.
It is floor post.
Yeah, you gotta fluff the hair. Hair fluffing. Come on, blow it out. My hair's back up now. That's good.
I need to be like this. February. Sorry.
That's
That works.
absolutely bizarre.
How bizarre.
Hey. Don't hate on plus size models.
No, I'm just thinking about. I was responding to the idea that I should be the centerfold of anything. That just seems painfully counterintuitive.
How's that look?
I like it. I like it. I'm sharing it, so if you're on the screen, you can see it. And those of you out in TV land,
It's just fun, you know. I love impressionism art.
Yeah.
It's just,
I like it as well.
Never messed with it.
really.
Yeah.
Oh, even like Monet or Manet and those guys, like, oh, this
Yeah.
like was like got me through art history. Actually, my teacher for art history is awesome. He actually like, there's two teachers that had taught worldwide up at Classic Community College in Oregon, Astoria, which is a tiny little community college. But these dudes have taught like big time places, like Italy and all these fancy places. And one was rather arrogant, but the other one was pretty chill dude, like a groovy dude. And he'd come back and he'd tell us about all these, you know, he'd go and just all these stories, and he'd relate it to the history and talk about the artists. He'd have slideshows. It was one of the easiest, most engaging ways to learn. He did a hell of a job.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, it was good.
Teaching is a dying art.
Teaching is not appreciated as it should be from people like from fascist Nazis like people across from me. He doesn't like teachers.
I just like formal education. I don't trust it, especially in its current form.
I'm not saying that
I don't
you're
dislike
not.
teachers. I just think they're part of a system.
You have
Just
a
like I don't trust doctors because they're all crooks. And
okay.
even the ones that
This
are
is what-
honest, they don't know that they're crooks because they're so ingrained in a system that they can't see
Well,
that
no,
they're
that's not.
crooks.
That's not.
It's the matrix.
You actually
I think-
hold your own.
I think public education is
You
the same
hold your
thing.
own, like many people practice their own stuff. Now, major like hospitals like we have here, like those bills and all this, like that, and the way they process, like from the small points down on up.
Any
It's
doctor
very
who takes
different.
insurance is intrinsically a crook
Well, I'm not
because
saying
it's such a scam.
that's not right or wrong at all. Like scams, very much so. Insurance is very much a ridiculous thing. But teachers, most ones in their 30s are a little more, it's a little tougher, but ones in their 40s on up, if they care, and if they actually are able, just because anybody else is teaching or knowing or doing anything. The school does not dictate the criteria in most schools. If you,
It's so cute.
you know,
Many
what's-
of the
So
Reese-
goddamn cute.
Reese, my brother is over here on my phone. Let's ask him. He's a fifth grade teacher, and he does summer school and all this different stuff. You versus who is not a teacher versus him. I'm going to take his word over it.
Okay.
Anyway, I mean,
Once
I'm
again,
waiting
your
for- I'm waiting
brother's part of the matrix.
for- I know.
he wouldn't know. That's my entire
Yes,
contention.
and
is
you're
that,
Agent Smith.
no,
so
no, no,
we just settled that.
no. I'm trying to free people from the
Okay.
matrix.
You're right, Morpheus.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I'm more like,
This is like
I wouldn't
this is
be
like
in the
someone
movie.
saying,
I'm the guy they would
I'm
make
the
a movie
hero,
about.
Listen to me.
right.
They wouldn't make a
Anyway.
movie about me.
Yeah, you know school.
I'm
sucks.
just
Anyway,
a
moving
crank.
on.
Well, I mean, I have a hard time. I guess I have a hard time adhering to and sticking to the absolute on any side.
Well, that's
of
just it.
position.
But
I mean,
people,
I mean,
people have a
You,
say.
you look at public education. There's good and bad things to it. It's imperfect.
And you were a
Yeah.
teacher. You've been there.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen both uglies and the goods of it.
Mm-hmm.
Administrations can be a pain in the ass, just like anything else.
But like, unlike most people, though, I've been on the inside of that system.
Oh, yeah.
like the intimate.
I'm not
insides of that
saying
system.
you can be 100% wonderful across the board. He's saying that his point of view is 100% across the board.
No.
No,
Well,
I'm
it's-
saying just because there's good people in a bad system doesn't mean they're not good people.
right.
And just
But
because
you're saying what
just
they're
because
doing
the
is not
system is
good.
intrinsically flawed doesn't mean there can't be people that pull good things out of it.
Okay, but you're trying to make them go woke. So what they do
I'm just saying
is-
there's
is
a
what they
specific
do
reason that
fruitful.
I would never send my kids to public school. There are many, many, many reasons. And one of them is that because it's compulsory, because education is compulsory, it automatically doesn't meet the needs of the people, because the biggest need they have is making sure that everybody is there. So if you're rambunctious or overachieving, or if you are acting up because you don't want to be there, you're thrown aside.
So you're excluding the individual.
No, I'm pointing the individual out.
No, you're excluding the individual can succeed without the system.
What are you talking about? My whole point is that the individual can succeed without the system.
So then, within your reason, if they throw them out, that person can still succeed.
Yes,
You know, and
but they cannot succeed legally because they legally have to be in the system.
Right. They still succeed. People do it daily.
The ones that are thrown out by this
See,
district,
you're coming
this
from your
district,
point of
this
view
district.
only.
But no, I'm telling you, as a nearly 20-year veteran of youth services, my job is picking up the dirt that they throw out on the street.
You worked with
I work with troubled youth.
Yes.
And those troubled youth are stupid,
Yes.
and they are exceptional. And almost every one of them has been screwed over by the public education system because they didn't fit the mold, and they either try to bandage themselves with apply their own spirits with drugs or alcohol, or decided to just say
That's
F off,
100%
and they
across
spent the
board,
whole
You're
time.
coming from your point of view, and
Yeah,
you are
of
not
course I am.
absolute.
Of course I am. Of course
See,
I'm coming from my
here's
point of
the
view, because
bad
I'm
side
talking
of
about the
home
exceptions.
education,
Because
is
other
you raise
people,
kids in a very small, secluded area with absolute thought. Like you have family thought. This is
Okay,
what we're going to do.
so-
things 100%.
so- let's look at long-term studies of homeschool kids, right? Homeschool kids, this is studies of thousands of kids over 50 years. Okay,
The percentile is much
No,
smaller versus.
it is much smaller,
it's a
but
much
but
group.
the numbers after 50 years of study, the numbers are significant number. We're talking of tens
The
of
numbers
thousands of kids.
are already
And
modified
And
just to
they
fit the
haven't been. They
criteria of
haven't
the
been. These are
test.
scientific, peer-reviewed studies that are more backed up than the global warming studies. These are huge studies, and these studies indicate that kids who are homeschooled, with a very small exception for those that are developmentally delayed or things like that, that even the marginally processing kids suffer a very short period of social awkwardness upon entering into the real world, whether that's college or high school or the business world, and very quickly rise to the tops of their field academically, professionally, and in every way. They become the bosses or start their own businesses that are wildly successful because they are taught to run as adults, whereas our current education system teaches to the lowest denominator in groups and herds. And so you have people that are constantly being trained one grade behind.
So are we talking
with-
strictly above? So you're talking.
I'm
you're
talking
coming
about-
at these-
I'm
you're
saying
coming-
the
shut up and let me
average-
talk
okay.
now. So you're coming at this as a point of view as strictly professional. You're not talking about society. You're not talking about all the other avenues of life.
No, I am. Those are all connected. It's a holistic system we live in. You don't have, it's a consistent holistic system. Everything connects to everything else.
Yes and no.
Well, speaking as a math major, who has a master's in statistical method, one thing, like when any kind of, statistical study is really evaluated, when it comes like the homeschooling thing, I'm not saying you're wrong. I mean, because like I said, I've had insight into both, into both lines of thinking. There are benefits to either, really, when you think about it. But really, I mean, in a lot of ways, it's unfair to, to take, one group, which is basically, all right, homeschool kids. Okay, well, I would assume that the vast majority of homeschool kids have parents who give a damn, and everybody else. It's almost like the comparisons that just really bother me about, like, oh, Germany, Japan, they're outperforming all of our kids. Oh yeah, well, I mean, if you go to Japan, the kids that end up making a certain level of high school have been filtered out. I mean, the kids have pretty much dropped off.
Tests.
Yeah.
So they're basically comparing.
They sweat their junior high test.
They're comparing
like
those
college
kids to
level
our
entry.
high school seniors.
Also, like I was talking about how our education system spits out the less than desirables because they want the middle of the road, boring, no shaking, all that kind of stuff. Japan is worse. Like if you don't The reason they start junior high is because otherwise you end up on the dole,
Right.
and you're not
Well, you
allowed
don't-
to. You're not
Yeah, well,
allowed to.
many artists actually are the ones that don't get to go there. A lot of the famous artists from Japan, the manga guys, are the ones that didn't get to go to junior high or get to go to that.
Yeah.
So
That's
people adapt is the whole thing.
Well, you know,
Like I am one of the most undesirable things. Like I'm not saying I'm a wild success, but I've had a lot of different stuff going on in my life. I've touched a lot of different things.
That is true. You are not a wild success.
you know, the way I've,
Why not, Barry? This is what we need: is wild success.
you know, the way I've looked at it. You
Well,
know,
let me
for so
cut the
many
dead
years.
weight and we'll be going.
I mean, the way I've looked at it for so many years, you know, it's like, you know, because I would say when I was younger, you know, I was all for like F schools, man. Yeah, you know, they're like, I mean, it's like when you think about it, it's like I was reading at a 10th grade level in 3rd grade. You know, English class was incredibly boring for me, you know, throughout school, you know, and I just didn't feel like they were really challenging me. You know, the one avenue where I felt that they were challenging me was math. You know, but then my senior year, I mean, I'm probably one of the more successful C students, you know, in that high school's history when you think about it, because I didn't really care about the grades. You know, I didn't really care about the system, so to speak. And then one kid I ran into who was one of our 18 stinking valedictorians that year.
18.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. You know, I like look at this group and like, well, not to be arrogant, I'm smarter than all these kids. You know, and he's said like, yeah, well, you're probably right. He said, but, and I never forgot this. Like saying, really, the only thing that the school system owes you is an opportunity. I didn't agree with that. I felt that, you know, the school system should be doing so much more, you know, because education is more than just the boring shit they present in the classrooms.
Well, and
You
part
know.
of that is as our class, like the government mandated class structure, which started from the inception of the Department of Education in the 70s.
Right.
And all the way through the whole No Child Left Behind, it just incremented, and the Common Core and everything else. But it's actually designed to not introduce new material from 3rd grade
Yeah.
to 8th grade.
But at the same
And so,
time,
like, it just rehashes this material. And that's why, like, there are curriculums that are designed to be incremental things that were actually scrubbed out and flushed out of the system because they want to keep kids down.
but
But
in
it's
all
the actual
fairness,
design.
so when you look at public school, there's really nothing in the actual, you know, laws of the public school or any individual district that I've seen that says this is exactly how you have to teach.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
except that it's tied to the money from the state boards of education,
District.
from the
But-
federal
but being
Department of Education. You don't get the money if you don't follow the outlines.
but being a teacher for 10 years, you know, in those 10 years, no one has ever told me this is how you have to teach. Not once.
Yeah,
Not even in the most struggling schools that I've ever worked with. Nobody's ever said you have to teach this way. And maybe that's why, you know, because I went into teaching for probably.
because that's the exact opposite I've heard from most of my
You know,
family who are teachers.
See, I
Most of them
I
have
mean-
the administration for 20 years breathing down their throats saying
Could
you need
be.
to do X,
see,
Y,
I
and Z.
worked for 4
But
different schools.
administration-
Maybe they were just scared of you, Rico. You're a tough guy.
Well, no. I worked for 4
It could
different
be that
schools.
you're taking one source and just mapping
Dude,
across
I had like
another
20
source.
teachers in my family.
I went for, you know,
I'm sure they're all right and they're all in the same area.
Well, I taught for like
No, they're
4
not.
different schools. Okay, like the only time anyone says, you know, anyone has ever told me that you have to teach this particular way was in college. You know,
Yeah,
they try to
that's what
indoctrinate
I've
you
heard.
as to
I've had people
this is
profess
your-
college friends,
this is
but
like your
that's-
method, but then at the same time, I was like nodding my head up and down because when I did my student teaching, my student teacher basically, you know, I said, okay, well, how do you want me to do
And
this?
that's what you hear right now. Teachers, like
Yeah.
major professors that are not going on with the curriculum or what the rhetoric is right now, they're out.
Well, it's like she said, like, well, what do I have to do? Do you want me to go linear? Do you want me to do this and that? I want you to do what you want to do. You know, these are the subjects you're going to teach. Play around with it, but understand, she wanted me to understand, these are kids' education. These are actually kids' education
Right.
that we're talking about here. You know, so make sure that you're going to do it right. You know, so it's like my method was a lot different than my fellow teachers.
So
You know.
so I'm curious because like my brother teaches on the West Coast, And now that's very liberal, liberal areas. The first time,
Vegas, Oklahoma, Illinois, Nebraska, Wyoming, Kansas.
mostly Midwest.
Um, well, that's where most of us live.
Yeah, I know. I'm just wondering.
My aunt, who was a teacher in Brazil at a private school, did not have that experience.
I imagine not.
But that's private school in Brazil is a whole different situation.
So
You
private
know-
school, what would does anyone know have any experience with private?
Oh yeah,
I went to private
I
school.
went to private school as well.
Teaching, like the administration.
Oh yeah, my mom taught at private school.
Yeah, I never
My-
taught
my
at a private
wife's-
school,
Aunt taught at private school.
but I visited charter schools.
Mhm.
You know, which is a little bit like a private school, but you know, a little different. I wasn't thrilled with what I saw. You know?
Because here's my thing. What
Probably then the charter schools vary so much too because they're all. I mean, they're
No, but you know,
Yeah.
to be perfectly honest, though, I mean, Reese, I went into teaching for the very same reason why you believe in homeschooling.
Yeah.
Is because
Well, that's why most.
I think about all the, you know, like when you think about the vast majority of teachers, and this is why I've done this with my fellow teachers more than a few times. You know, they were successful through that system. Well, relatively successful. You know, they wanted to be a part of it. You know,
Really?
but they're only looking at it through their own eyes of, well, I did this to succeed, so everybody else should do this to succeed.
interest.
and how many teachers that are just like, and another one of the reasons that we're just like how many dozens of teachers I had who were just like never left high school. They've just
Yeah. No,
they're
it's
just they're
true.
still in that and they're petty and they're obsessed with all
Well,
the
that's
same
human
stuff.
nature, though. That's,
no,
you'll
yeah.
find that in
Different
every
kinds-
walk
different
of
kinds
life.
of- different kinds of
You're
pettiness.
talking,
I'm
you're
talking
talking
I'm
about.
talking specifically about like, the rah-rah, sis boom bah, team spirit
you
is
find that
everything.
like, I work. That's like nothing but you describe my work. Okay, that's nothing. Now my work's not a profession.
Yeah.
But that is like what we're seeing in comics right now. That's exactly the same thing we're seeing in comics.
Well, you know,
The follow the crowd. You want to be my buddy? That type of mentality that happens, and it's being bred. It's like being bred to our into our society right now. It's very much fear, cowardliness.
well, I went into the teaching with the whole notion that, I didn't necessarily like the way the system treated
Taught
me.
you, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, although
I'm
I've
not
seen
saying
I've
it's
seen
100%
some
correct.
great.
I just know that I just believe that there are teachers who actually they're not indoctrinated. They are teaching. They're
Oh, yeah.
doing their own
Like-
curriculum. They're putting in summer school hours. They are meeting one-on-one with kids. They're going above and beyond. Now these are people, and this is how it is through every walk of life. It's the individual who makes a difference. You want to look at the masses? It's not going to happen. The masses are not going to teach you. They're not going to lead. They're going to follow the other masses, the lemmings. That's just how it's going to be. We haven't reached that spot in our society, in our human development yet, where free thinking in our social environment is like pushed, is celebrated. We
We
celebrate.
were a lot closer before the introduction of mandatory schooling.
That's
when
possible. I'm not arguing that.
Historically, when schooling wasn't obligatory,
Right, and that makes
when you could
sense.
choose, the standard of education was high, and it took a long time to change that.
Right, and I'm not saying like
But
I
you
don't
look
agree
from-
with I don't agree with the whole
1855
leave
to
no one
19
behind.
1855 to 1920 was a lot. It was just that was the beginning of the spiral.
But
the-
I think you also have to look at it in terms of, like a broader perspective. Were it not for mandatory teaching, people my color in this country probably wouldn't get education at all. There was in some areas, like for instance, my grandfather, in Texas, wasn't allowed to go to a lot of school until he was a little bit older. Finally they kind of made it
Here's
mandatory.
the question and the thought that I have with that though,
the thing
is
about
when people when people want to, when you want to, you are more excellent at it. So like that's wrong. Everyone knows that's wrong, right? But when you try, if you can't go here, you keep on going, you keep on going, you keep on going. That person becomes very special. They become prolific at what they do. But he can't get an education. He, if he doesn't want to do it, keep on looking. It's like anybody. Peter Dinklage, the short actor. So forever, he didn't get roles that he wanted, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He's succeeding. He's one of the most brilliant actors and stage performers. When it's all said and done, who say it of all time? You know what I mean? So it is always our trials that define us and make us. It is our fire that makes us that much better than everyone else. If you are handed things, you are never as good. And that's human nature. That's something wrong with our society right now. Like in contrast to ancient Japan, when before Western influence fucked it up a lot. They celebrated. There was always there's different. This is not across the board, but they celebrated excellence in every small little freaking thing you did. And if you couldn't meet that,
yeah. Well,
I'm not saying that's perfect. I'm not. But something I wish that we aimed at more. We were socially aware of it.
It's like as a teacher also as well. I go into the system thinking like, they need more teachers that give a damn.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And Reese, he talks about a lot of these kids that have been thrown away by the system. I totally agree.
Yeah.
That there's so many kids that are just kind of swept under the rug. Yeah. And they're probably thrown away.
Well, that's. I'm a great example of it. I had friends and teachers like me, right? But I was a fellow for crafts, and it's taken me this long to figure out I want to do something, right? I had to crash and fall and fail and burn and hit all these rocks on the way down, but now I'm getting this. So it's funny contrast. I'm not saying I agree completely. I've seen kids that just don't. I see people just throw away their lives, but once again, there's human choice and everything. I'm not saying kids. Once again, it's not the teacher's fault or a teacher's responsibility. Teachers can take it upon themselves to reach out and make sure that kid has everything.
I would agree. It's not the teacher's responsibility to raise the children.
Is what I'm pointing
but
at.
my
the
point is,
of a kid, the teacher can't make up for a parent.
No, but a teacher can exacerbate.
They can be a great example,
and that's what
examples
I see.
Of what we need.
I see as often, and of course, my job is, like I said, for almost 20 years, I've been working with broken kids.
Right.
So they're the ones that teachers don't care about. So because they're hard, they don't.
Well, yeah, that's
whatever. But I mean, the best thing is a teacher can't make up for a parent, but they can make it worse. A lot of teachers make it worse.
Well, that can be true. I mean, on an individual basis. But it's a lot of times. Just to give you an example, though, if you were to take my workload, as a teacher when I was at Geary Junior High, okay, I had 6 periods, about 25 kids, each class. So there's 150 of them. They're not all straight A students, but there's so many of those kids though that I was actually able to rescue from getting to your level, and it's difficult, and the schools do feel it. I mean, the schools do, because, we are talking about children here. I mean, when I was in Gearing, for instance, I would butt heads with so many of the teachers that I would refer to as the old guard, to where, remember, I learned the hard way, to where my valedictorian friend basically said, the only thing that you're offered in this country is an opportunity. And that goes for the school system, which I thought was a pretty hard-ass way of looking at things,
It is.
Not really, doesn't feel like a whole lot of compassion, in looking at it that way, and then I wish you could be a fly in the wall in all the meetings that we had in Geary, because we've had so many conversations about kids that were suicide risks, or about kids that were all by themselves with no friends, or about kids, and in an effort they would tell us, I remember one time we had this staff meeting where we had pictures of kids all through our lounge, and they were kids that we could all identify them. They don't have any friends. Mm-hmm. And so what we did as a project is that we were supposed to write our names under 2 kids that we felt that we can try to make a connection with, and we all did it. Mm-hmm. As to whether or not we made connections, unfortunately, one of those kids that I signed up for 3 years ago, he committed suicide, and it's there's just so many factors, You know what I mean?
Well, no,
I honestly
that's-
believe that the vast majority of the people that are teaching, you know, they do care. You know, but as opposed to you're a grade school teacher and you have 20 kids, you see them all day long.
Yeah.
You have a better
Well,
opportunity
there's-
to care for those kids than like
And what
150.
once
you
again,
know?
like that goes to, like, you know, like I'm not a teacher. I'd love to be like when we do the art thing. I love talking to those kids, and I try to engage them any way I can, just to get them in. Then you start building with that. Once you get them in, you know, once you get them smiling, you can build with that and just keep on going. I love that. Now, it's hard to reach everybody, and like there's so much you get worn out. Like that again, like to me, like it comes down to
Sometimes they piss you off.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes you give your heart and soul, and they
yeah,
just, like,
you're because
you
we're
know,
human. Like
they-
there's
yeah.
so many things that, but to me, like that's like I love to see. I want to see. And I think at times, you know, society's so complex, but there are quiet echoes of things changing. You know, like there are small things that people like to care, and that there are different thoughts. There are different, you know, people that care about, you know, eating differently, you know, eating healthily. Like kids who get just this horrible slop shoveled to them, like at the schools.
Yeah.
The food is horrible. Like why we care so much about kids? Why do we feed them this food that we should, you know, animals won't eat?
There's so much about kids. Why do we leave them locked up in a building for night?
Well, they have recess. I don't know if they still do anymore, but
Well, yeah, they do. And some places have recess, but I mean, like, you know, our bodies need movement to survive.
oh yeah, you know, there used to be like,
We're dying
That's-
because we don't remove.
that's
And
what used to be so
I'm
cool.
one of these people.
it seems like I'm like that's you know part of the conversation also, but like, you know, social education, you know, the way to think, the way to, you know, be like just changing the way our social, you know, outlook is on life. This country needs more of that, you know, the more of like people who will get it done and not accept excuses. Like
Yeah.
recently did a great quote, right? Mark Twain, what did he say?
Yep. No, I never let my schooling interfere with
Yeah.
my education.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
And that's
That's-
true for everything.
And that was true.
That's life.
That was 1820.
Yeah.
1820s when he
It's
was in
not
school.
new. Yeah. Yeah, it's nothing new. And this is now nowadays we have what do we have? There's something wrong with you. There's always a weaker solution.
Or there's a
You know,
pill.
Or a pill, or
Yeah.
or you know,
See,
there's
that-
something wrong with you. It's okay to be, you know. How about work it through? Okay, that's not working for you. It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah.
You want to be right. Let's keep on working to get right. And instead, like nowadays, it's like, okay, you're messed up. Let's make you mess up, and here's a pill, or it's okay to be messed up.
You know, I must have been lucky. You know, honestly, I must have been really lucky because I mean, I think that there was a choice few, you know, teachers in my life that really changed
Yeah, I
the
can
way
name
I
the
looked at the
ones.
world. Yeah, yeah.
I
I
can
think
name the
I
people
think
that-
when we close our eyes and envision them, you can, if you're fortunate enough to have like a really truly great teacher, you know, you'll recall their lessons like instantly. It's like
Oh yeah,
it's,
I remember like I was like so I was raised Jehovah's Witness, right? So I was outside of like everything. Like I didn't get to do birthdays, sports, nothing. And then I wasn't a popular kid. I was very shy, very. I mean, it was, you know, I think at home also, but so I was on the outside. They were very like when a teacher would take an interest of you, just some little, there was different sparks along the way, and then there were teachers that actually would make a difference, would engage you, they care. That's just probably why I didn't. And who knows?
well, I've had like, for instance, all right. Well, let me give you this idea, you know, of my third grade teacher. You know, who don't get me wrong, I love her. You know, I'm not going to name her, you know,
Right.
but she was my third grade elementary teacher. You know, but like first day of class, you know, she was asking what our names are and what we'd like to be called. You know, and so all the kids are just going with me. And then she got to my name. You know, she said Richard. You know, and then I raised my hand. I said, you know, I go by Rico. And then her exact words were like, well, you're not going to go by a wetback name in my classroom. You're going to
Wow.
be Richard. So she called me Richard the entire classroom. But, you know, she was
See-
a really good teacher,
Yeah.
but she hurt me.
Oh
Yeah,
I mean,
that's pretty
See,
low.
that's stuff like so. That's stuff I didn't know. Like I didn't see. Like there was not much racism in my school. There was more Mexicans than anything else, right?
You know,
Hispanic
and
kids.
I thought so highly of her
Yeah.
that I defended her.
They-
You know, like in parent teacher
Yeah,
conferences,
yeah.
to where she referred to me as Richard. You know, my parents kind of looked at each other. You know, Richard.
But to them, you would say,
I said, I defend her. Like, I told her I want to be called Richard.
and that's part. What's that? There's a name for that.
There is. I don't know.
It happens in relationships constantly.
You know,
It's a big thing in relationships where you have this person, right? They've done good for you, or they're supposed to be good. They are supposed to be this, but they're not. But we still see them as they're supposed to be this.
But you know, the lesson I got out of that though, is that I would never do that to a kid.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think I remember one of my good friends. He's an amazing dude. I have him on Facebook. I'm lucky to have all these friends on Facebook. That's one thing that's good about Facebook. That's why I hate this thing. Is it keeps me in contact with people I haven't seen. Lost contact with. But like one kid, they were calling him Bean, and I know it was because we call him Bean. And then one of the TAs was in class, and she looked up. She said, "You knocked that." I don't think she said shit, but she was knock that stuff off right now. And she didn't say it to me. She said it to the whole group. Me and all the guys, and like that's really wrong. I had no idea what was going on. I was so naive, right? Like
right.
Well,
I think like kids that age, I don't.
Yeah, we were in seventh grade, so someone had to have known. I was just that dumb. I was that naive. I was never with anybody else.
And I think
those comics were my life.
And I do think there's a difference between like legitimate racism.
Yeah, they weren't being. It wasn't to be mean, right? It was because he was different, and this is a name that somebody. I don't know which one found it, but and we were like, I'm not saying we're innocent. Most kids were jerks. But yeah, that was my first experience. Like, holy, man, because there's Mexicans there in my class. When I was in South Bend and Raymond, there's tons of Laotians, huge Laotian community. That's maybe I was thankful that was never, like, racism was not in my face. I didn't see racism.
Yeah.
My granddad, like, would say, he wouldn't say it like to put people down, but he would say it as a definition. Like, him and grandma they went on a cruise, went through them Cuba or something. Yeah, it's a good place, and people were really hella nice. Those leaders were real hella nice, But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My wife's grand was in the same situation where it was just because that used to just be a descriptive title.
Right. Right.
I mean the what's it called? UNESCO, not UNESCO. The United Negro College Fund.
Right. Yeah.
But that's the name they picked.
Yeah. Well, it's. I remember reading the autobiography of Malcolm X, and him saying I got called a nigger so much that I thought it was my name. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it.
Well, Malcolm X is like a lot of like that rhetoric he has like on what was it, CNN, like way back in the day. Like he's got an amazing.
Like, I don't subscribe to any of the stuff that he says, but I thought it was
he's got some amazing points when it comes to politics and like how they try to like people like what we see right now is, well, in a way, reverse racism. Like the buddying up. Like they're not doing things to be friends. They're doing things controlled to make sure they're okay with it. It's not like sincere in any way. You see that shit constantly, and he was like talking about that early on. Like I'm not saying like he was a peace love Doug guy, but he called a lot of bullshit out.
Well, one of the most fascinating talks that I've seen of his is just pointing out like the hypocrisy of like of like the whole black loving liberal idea.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's like it's patronizing.
It's very patronizing. Well, like they're making themselves secure with it and making them grow with it.
Well, I mean that's
to
been
control that.
That's been part of the leftist game plan since the 1920s.
Yes.
I mean that's been.
And he called
there was
out,
I can't remember the dude's name. There was a pundit, a black thinker who was in the 1920s who like was the biggest anti-communist. He's just like, the communists will come and tell you they're here for you. They're lying. They want to steal your money. The only thing we have to bring ourselves out is opportunity. If they take all of our money, we don't have any opportunity. Don't let them trick you by promising you stuff because they just want your money.
Right. Well,
was he economist?
The irony of it.
I mean, it was I mean, in the like the 19, I remember about the time frame, the 1890s, 1910s, the Communist Party of America broke into two groups, and one of them became the Progressive Party. And then in the during World War II, the Progressives merged with the Democrats.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh no, just I don't know if you're talking critical thinking, and that's the other thing. I often think that a lot of critical thinking on a social level, comes from home, and that's where I think we see a lot of like observations of a lot of kids that don't have like a strong bond with their parents.
Yes.
They go into school, not able to critically filter a lot of the information they're getting.
I think a lot of it comes from like they don't have a strength of mind, strength of self. Because like your parents are the first to install that in you, make you aware, to make you the individual, the child engaged in a free thinker and constantly engaging a child at a very young age is so important, so amazing. I've seen so much of that recently, and the parents that do it are so amazing. It's beautiful.
But if you were to like contrast like the kids whose parents give a damn.
Yes,
and the kids who don't.
That's it. Giving a damn.
The questioning abilities of the kids.
Yes.
Their parents, actually gave a damn.
Yes.
They question you at such a much higher level, as those that are.
They thought about it, but you can see them thinking, and then they process it. And they give you their own thing. Yeah. Yeah. It's once again, it's time. It's let's not be afraid of all these. And it's like, it's back in the day when they sold us on technology and computers, what was supposed to save us time, and now all of our time goes to your toys and electronics and stuff like that. It's hilarious. What's important? Are your toys and your technology important? Because that stuff's trivial. It just fills up your time. Kids, this is how they sell it. They sell toys and movies to us, entertainment, take up our time. What do you do with your time now? It's been flipped. America's been flipped. We should care about the time that we spend with people, and that's a huge thing. That time you cannot get back. That's simple. People know it. But
I used to show this video of there's a TED Talk about this scientist dude.
God, I love hate relationship with TED Talk.
Yeah. The scientist dude who actually spends like 3 hours of his day teaching middle school kids. And he had some interesting things to say, like, what kind of world are we going to live in when we have all these kids that know so much about social media and so much about their, technology and cell phones, but they've never gone bowling with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. Well, you're seeing it right now. You're seeing it right now because you guys are married, or you're pretty settled with your gal and stuff. Yeah. But dating is insane. Like the social aspect of dating these days, the limit of what people want to put themselves out there, it's like a simulation. Seriously, and it's like nowadays, I guess if you check out Tinder, you have these things that you. You're aware of this, right?
All the time. No, I'm aware of it.
But you're aware of it.
I've heard about it on the internet.
Swipe or pass, or like that. It's like shopping for groceries. You know what I'm saying? The interaction.
That's the idea.
Depth. Yeah.
That's what they're
selling. That's kind of what it seemed like to me.
It's
the old-fashioned meat market.
Yeah, it is seriously insane as an aspect to our society. Mm-hmm. It's something that's minimized to the umpteenth tiniest degree.
Right.
No, everything should be valued.
But it's like, I was fortunate enough to have parents that gave a damn. I mean, they didn't have like the academic know-how to really guide me through, which explains why, I had C's, my whole time in school, but then tested really high, but they kind of sent me in their, like, you need to question things, like for instance, you need to question whether the social studies teacher that's teaching about the Aztec civilization, but, still says Montezuma, is he going to be authority on the subject? You need to question that, and like, I remember one time, my dad, for instance, who uneducated, I think he had a GED diploma, but very, very bright dude. I mean, he reads, he has a voracious appetite for books, and I remember we were talking about, well, they said this was the difference between liberalism and conservatism, the difference between communism and capitalism. And son, do your homework. You know, the communists, capitalists, they're bankrolled by the same people.
Yeah.
And then that started a whole journey of research that, you know, really.
The funniest thing is like, once again, it's time, right? You research, think about it. It takes time to learn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and people who are ahead in life are the ones who take the time. You know, they ignore all the distractions, and they take time to build something or to create something. And that's something that just isn't touched on enough, I don't think. You know,
Yeah.
it's like there's all these things that we have that are supposed to speed up. So, you know, speed up our busyness or whatever it is, like that, so we can have more time entertaining ourselves. That's just a plug in so we can pay more money to something. Take your time to enjoy what you love. Take your time to enjoy what you do. That's what's really all about. Be a professional, or be professional in something you love.
I was big a sucker as anybody else.
Oh.
I get sucked into video games.
Oh yeah, me
that.
too. Like I still play video games. I'm not saying don't enjoy smaller things. I'm just saying that have the awareness of mind to know where you're spending your time or what's detrimental to yourself. Like, it's just like a bad relationship. Are you in a bad relationship? Okay, then you have to value yourself, value your time enough. It goes for anything. It's like driving a bad car that keeps on breaking down on you. You keep on pouring money into that thing, or are you going to value yourself and your safety and everything else? Yeah. Like, that's just an example. It can be for anything. It's just.
I'm just curious, Reese. Like, roughly speaking, about what percentage of like your teachers in high school, for instance, would you say actually gave a damn?
Well, I got to split that up because, like, I went to private school, so like,
well, let's just say public school.
Like in private school, they took a pay cut to work there, so
they care.
They care,
right.
For the most part. Two of my teachers in my sophomore year were just right out of college, and they got the chance to see the money come down from from a public school job, and they bailed. So
that happens a lot.
Yeah, it does, because they I don't think they care.
Well, you're not making much money as a teacher in the first place. You don't get into it's like being an artist. You don't get into the job to really. I mean,
you get surprised.
You get 6 weeks off and $60,000 a year plus bennies.
Well,
but for the education.
Well, if you're smart, you don't take those 6
right,
weeks
you
off.
keep working. You do something else. Yeah, you have a second job, or you.
Or that whole 6 weeks.
Or you take And I said 6 months. I meant 6 weeks.
Right.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But the education time versus some other profession time.
That's more than twice what I get paid.
But yeah, I don't have a degree. Do you have a degree?
I don't have a degree, but to have my job, you're supposed to have a degree that is equal to a teacher's degree. Like I got in on it on work experience.
Right.
Like I had the experience
to
match the degree. I mean, it's because I live in a rural area.
Yeah.
And it's hard to keep people with those kind of degrees in rural areas because they'd rather get another 2 years of school and go, move to the big city.
Administration or something.
Yeah, or move to the big city and make the comparable standard of living to working here, but get paid more on the dollar.
So you'd be surprised, like my last contract teaching, I think all told was like for $65,000. But then again, I was varsity coordinator coach. So extra job, big job. So that tacked on like an extra $4,000.
Yeah.
Wow. Contract. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things where like the average American household income is 35. And you make anything over 35,000, you're doing good, right? That's the median is 35,000. Actually, it's 36. It's gone up.
So it's possible. I haven't looked at those numbers.
I haven't looked at them for a long time.
Yeah. So I mean, you're right out of college, terrible, teaching job. I mean, granted, the hours during the school year suck.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad situation.
And college costs too damn much.
But it depends. It depends largely on where you're teaching. Like, for instance, if you're not at a place that has a strong union, you're not going to make it. like my first job, I was in Yuma, Colorado for 5 years, and they had, absolutely no union presence whatsoever. So like my first contract was for 29,500. My 5th-year contract was for 30,000. Just to give you an idea. Yeah, and not a whole. So
no, it's
when
not much movement.
when Gehringer, Nebraska offered me 46,000, I had
Easily,
to do it
yeah,
because
easily.
we had credit card debt. I
Yeah.
had no hope whatsoever of buying a house.
Yep.
We had to do it. And it's like, Nebraska is actually a pretty good place to teach. If you want to make a living, it's
Yeah.
not bad. Wyoming is freaking mad, man. They pay their teachers very well.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard a lot.
Very well. Like I was offered a position there. It would have been first year teacher, but I would have been replacing like a freaking legend. And what he did is he did an integrated calculus, chemistry, all in one. It was just all
What the hell?
yeah, it was an integrated curriculum that they took.
Wow.
And I was impressed because they were showing me like some of the stuff that they taught.
Yeah.
And they were saying, "Can you do this?" I said, "I think I can," but I would have been a fool to try to do it because a full first year teacher jumping into something like that.
That's a lot
It's
for.
incredible.
That's amazing.
That's crazy. That's
75,000 they offered. 75,000 for a first year contract.
That's like. That's amazing. That's,
well, yeah.
But Wyoming, all of their property taxes goes into education.
I was gonna say there's something else that it was.
Well, I'm not
college
actually. It
professor?
doesn't anymore because they've shut down so many missile silos. They have to start paying for the roads themselves again.
Oh, really?
Not
Yes.
all of the roads.
So it's
but-
probably changed.
So it's changed
you know?
some, yeah.
But we're talking like, gosh, my first contract would have been
Thanks, Obama.
2005. 2005 would have been my first contract. So that's 14 years ago. Wow.
That's something else, man. I mean,
Those are the days.
I guess.
Yeah.
Damn. So thanks to Reese, Obama Reese over here.
I would like to point out you brought it up.
Completely. I know that's why I was blaming you randomly anyway. But so how about them things we talk about for comics?
Well, I've been working over here on
I
rebuilding the
write
perks
down what
list.
we had last.
Yes,
Okay.
that's
He's
what
down to his fourth
so-
item.
So Rico.
So I will share my screen so you guys can all
Thank
see it.
Okay. How do we get on this discussion?
I just blame Reese. That's all we know.
Yeah, but that wasn't what happened.
Yeah,
Barry
it was.
made some comment about.
Reese made some ridiculous. You're the Matrix stuff, and
Well, that was before that because you were like you brought up teaching, and like you're like I know Reese ought to step up to this. Okay,
is that what happened? Really?
yeah, that's what happened.
Hey,
Tail of the tape.
you want to know the truth about a teaching degree, though?
Reese agreed.
About a teaching degree? It's absolutely worthless. It teaches you absolutely nothing
Oh.
about actual teaching.
Yeah.
So, like, I kind
Yeah,
of,
it's the.
like,
yeah,
I
I've heard
would-
that, I've
I
heard
would
that
rather-
from day one in school.
I would
had a
rather-
third grade teacher.
I would rather, as like a first year teacher, enter the situation with like Reese's experience teaching kids than I would with just like education that you have like at a four-year college.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, the one part about that formal college
That's-
degree that does help is the student teaching.
Well, yeah,
Because
you
you
get
work
experience
eyeball
working
to
with the
eyeball
kids,
with an
yeah.
experienced teacher.
And that's what
you know.
teaching.
And that's how it used to be, like when it was a teaching program. So they used to be before like 1930. You get a teaching, you finished college, and you interned with the teacher.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was just finishing, just like 2-year degree. In some cases, just high school, because high school then was equivalent to associates plus
Probably.
today.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's not even a question.
It was.
Like you got
This is unfortunately right.
yeah. And part of why I know that is my grandfather Reese was born in 2005. So he finished college in the 20s. And he, with his high school, he didn't go to college. He finished high school in the 20s. And my dad, with his master's degree, was less educated than my grandfather. Well, part of that too is my granddad kept studying because he was a
Well, it was more
a
traditional.
farmer.
Like the
So-
way we think about Japan and all those countries right now, that's kind contrast. Ours was more like that back to 100 years ago.
Well, and the other thing too is that because like
Because
at that time
it was social structure also.
at that time
status.
school was only compulsory from 7 to 16 in Kansas, where my granddad grew up. So
That's,
like if you didn't start till 7, you finished 8th grade at 16, you still got the whole package. So you could go on and finish it off, whatever,
Right.
high school or whatever. And if you started early, then you could finish high school early and the whole thing.
and again, not everyone, like school was prestigious. Like not everyone got a school education back then.
Side note, did you know that in Nebraska, school has only been compulsory to 5 since Donovan was 2 years old. Before that, the law was up till 7. So you didn't have to start a kid in Nebraska until 7. Here. And they changed that. They changed that when Donovan was little.
My kids were 6, when they went to school.
Yeah.
We started our kids, just we were going to homeschool anyway, so we just started, numbers and shapes and colors and all that stuff. So
I remember going.
we
to,
started formal education 1st grade, but we were already doing all the
my
kindergarten
birthday
stuff.
in the spring. So my mom put me in like when I was like 6, 7. Hey, that 'cause I remember going to like older brother, right, and all the kids were off going learning. But I was going to her asking her to teach me how to read and shit,
Yeah.
and do all that stuff. And she's like, no, they'll teach you in school.
I was also really lucky in the sense that my mom was probably, you talk about teachers, she's probably the best natural teacher I've ever seen in my life. And she was a stay-at-home mom back then. So it's almost like first 6 years of my life were like homeschool.
Yeah.
And so like I keep hearing, I don't remember much when I was 3, but all of my family assured me you used to read when you were 3. You used to do arithmetic when you were like 4.
Yeah, see, I didn't start.
Yeah.
I didn't start caring about
That's how it
reading
was with
until I
our kids
was
too. They weren't reading. They didn't
early
read
teens.
until they were probably, they weren't reading until they were 5. But they knew.
I
their
was
letters
drawing
before that.
faces and bodies when I
Well,
was
yeah.
2. But
Yeah.
I could draw real good when I was
Yeah.
2, but I couldn't. I didn't care about reading until I was in my early teens at least.
Well,
that
you
was
know,
that
Well,
was
and like it was super easy to learn for Tolly to learn to read because Donovan was already learned.
right.
And so there
Yeah,
was just
the
that
curve.
and
always
that curve
had-
gets smaller. So he's just like, so Donovan was teaching Tolly the alphabet when Amy wasn't.
So there's
You know what?
multiple reasons.
But you know what's sad about college these days, is that it's so dependent on, it's become like a money machine more than anything else.
Yes, absolutely. That's like it's like pharmaceutical, like and doctors and medicine. It's not really there to make people better because they don't talk about diet. They don't talk about
It's
know what I
to make
mean?
money.
yeah, it's there to make money. It's nothing but a money machine. You know?
Well, and the thing is, I don't care that it's there to make money, right? My problem, right, with the medical business, because everybody should be out there to make money.
Right.
The
That's
problem-
is that the argument?
problem
By
is-
saying don't make money. That's not an argument.
Well, I know, but I'm saying my problem with the medical establishment is that it's pocket and pocket with the government, and their incentive is to keep the people down
Right.
because then they just pay their taxes,
They
don't
keep-
question
well,
stuff.
They keep
and
on
so-
feeding back into the money.
And so then you have the USDA pushing, high carb for everyone for 30 years, and we're all fat.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I wouldn't need much pushing.
Artery-
I love bread and jelly.
well, that's because we've been eating your whole life.
That's part of it.
It's like they took my cocaine from me. I still want my cocaine.
Well, I do take exception to the whole money thing because think about it. When the profit, when the whole profit motivation is the only thing you're doing it for, what happens is like, all right, well, we want to make money off of these
No.
students.
So here's the thing is,
Wait, hold on.
Okay,
We want to make money off of these students, okay? But not everybody is going to be able to perform the work. So what happens? The standards lower, so we can get more people in here, so that we can make more money off of books, off of tuition, off of housing.
That's
Yeah,
that's
see,
the
and
argument because everyone
but
always says
here's the part I'm saying that the reason that is able to happen is because the government
Capitalist.
steps in with loans and interrupts the capital system. So the profit motive is skewed because the thing is we were sold the bill of goods because the government was involved that the college was a path to success, was the path to success.
that is the modern path
Right.
to success.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was the path to success. And like, if you want to be something, you'll go to college. So they puffed up an artificial value for it. If it was just strictly capitalist system, If it was just strictly free market system, you would, if you didn't get anything out of it, you wouldn't go. People wouldn't go to college if they didn't walk out of college with a job. So you'd have some people that tried it and they'd be like, oh man, here I have my degree in puppetry and I can't get a job as a puppeteer anywhere. Well, I guess nobody else is going to get a degree in puppetry. That's because we have this interference, that's what I'm trying to say, in the system, it skews the whole market. It's the same way with medical, right? In the medical system, we have all of these artificial things put in there, and the people are bad consumers because we've been lied to by the government and the medical establishment.
Well,
right? And the school system,
they
and
knew
the
we
school
were going
system,
to be docile.
and the school system, funded by the government, taught people the food pyramid, which made them be bad customers of their doctors. So they can't demand good customer service. So they just take the scraps the system has to offer. It's an interruption of the free market by the socialist forces that want to keep man down.
But I don't see the government
That's
advertising
copy.
come to University of Phoenix and do all online classes.
No,
Spend all
that's
this
the
money,
university itself.
you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
But no, you're
No,
right.
because
There is,
Pell Grant, because Pell Grants help fund the University of Phoenix,
oh,
and the government funds the high schools
here,
that pump the idea that you have to go to school.
there's disconnect between when it's government, when we say government, right? Government is just me. I want to be a governor, right? You know, I have investments. I'm invested in this medical field. Maybe I'm invested in Ford. I don't want Ford to go under. What happened a few years ago, remember? So it's individuals and it's greed. And it's a system that's archaic and greedy, you know, and the individuals that partake in this. So government has some big old entity that doesn't exist. It's individuals that work within it. You know, we can't just like say, oh, you know, this is the way it is. They're all invested in different fields. And when this big old cycle keep on going around and around and around, and ignorance helps that cycle go around and around and around. Laziness and ignorance. Food that's bad for us. You know, education that does nothing for you. You know,
well, that's why I feel like there's like a concept called an inflation of education.
Oh yeah,
That's
without a question.
I mean, it used to be that with a high school education, you can do quite a bit. With a 2-year degree, you can do quite a bit.
Yes.
A 4-year degree,
And
you can do quite a bit. And these days,
technically you can, but these days you can't because of
Unless you happen.
I was looking at some of the curriculum of like college students these days, and couldn't believe it. Like, where are you being pushed? And this seems like middle school stuff for crying out loud.
well, that's once again, it's like it's sleight of hand all over the place.
But
You know,
anybody
look
can
here.
do it. Anybody can
That's
show
what I'm
out their
saying.
money and do it.
That's what I'm saying, and that's why from fundamentally from everything you're talking about, I'm like, and then it goes back to, and this is why it's good in when you say it on paper, but it's bad in practice. No one left behind. Okay, you need people to seek excellence. You need people to be pushed and be told no, because people who don't want it are going to say, okay, I'll find my own way that I actually care about eventually.
Right.
Because you cannot make me, as much as you want me to, you cannot make my favorite color be black. My favorite color is blue. You can
Black's not a color; it's a hue.
It's a joke. I can relate to it, jerk. All right, I'm sorry, green, motherfucker. Let's do not for. Let's do it.
Needly a little.
Yeah. Good job.
Okay, so you look at your screen
No.
because it's 9 and I want to leave.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
So
so we've got $3 for the e-comics, right? The digital. Of course, is a high quality print worthy PDF. Okay, $4
We talked such good college tonight.
e-comics and the digital goodies, which is 1 trading card and 1 poster file.
we probably scared away everyone.
Oh yeah.
We have 2 dudes still listening.
No way.
Yeah, you
Holy
guys are
cow.
fucking troopers, man.
Oh hey.
Holy
Jeremy's
cow.
probably
Bob
working.
Jones.
Jeremy, yeah.
I don't know if you guys
Wow.
catch that guy, Nerd Over
Nerd
30.
30.
He's hilarious.
I've kind of some of the stuff, but I had not had a chance to read. Yeah. So he's obviously old like Rico.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. That's
Not
right.
joking.
We old people have to stick together.
No one in this room was under 40 anymore.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so
Anyway,
So do
back
we-
to the thing.
okay, yeah. I was to say that looks pretty. You see it?
Mhm.
So do we want to go ahead with cards also, like how
Yeah,
about
yeah.
incentive stuff?
I'm
Trading
working on
cards.
as I'm working on that. So $3 e-comics, $4 e-comics plus a digital file of the poster
Mhm.
and card file. $5 is the comic including the centerfold. $7 comic centerfold with a bonus 10 by 13 pinup.
Right.
Grease.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boobies. Yep.
Yeah. Then $10 comic, the centerfold, the 10 by 13, and 3 random cards. Okay.
I like that.
And then 15, were we saying the 9-card set?
Right. We were. Yeah. The set of
15 for
cards.
the 9 cards?
You want to start? I'm not sure how much time you're gonna have. You want to start like bouncing ideas because I'm working crazy shit hours.
I'll have
this
way
week.
more time after Thursday.
Okay. Let's start bouncing ideas
So you
off
want
each
to
other.
say
And off of social media, just find out what different card designs we want to do with, and like just little designs we want to throw up a little picture. Hey,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
so? Okay,
We can
Let's say-
design all night.
or even
12.
more. I mean,
How about-
we hit 9, we keep going.
$12,
Series 2.
2 comics,
There you go.
Yeah.
2 comics. Okay, come on.
Hey, Corral, start shooting.
Oh,
2
Wow.
centerfolds.
We
I don't know. It's a good.
apparently, I think we need
It's a good
steam to-
conversations to have.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
we obviously need some steam blowing off. We
Okay.
found this is our avenue tonight.
I mean, but like, this is like part of the whole education thing. We're pretty in about it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I
There's a
love.
lot of shit. in the
I have a
system,
passion
you
for
know,
teaching. Like I know as a kid, like I managed a lot of profiles that I shouldn't be saying the opposite against. I understand that it takes everything to tango. There is not one strict answer,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that. I appreciate all the different contours that we can talk about. And
Well,
man, I'd love to be able to teach them like the art things that we've done. It's so much
what I'm
fun.
doing in the world of art.
I mean, that's my
so
first.
good.
Yeah,
It feels so good to do it.
yeah. I bet.
It does. It
Yeah.
just does. Man.
I can only imagine because like
It's like having your right hand back again.
yeah,
So thank
you love
Thank
music.
you for that.
No problem. Well, I already got a good card from them, and that's cool. I mean, I was thinking it was one of those opportunities I had to.
Okay,
there's two
so-
friends. Here we go.
$15 comic centerfold 10 by 13 and the 9-card set.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
And personally, I want to do one of 2 things with a 9-card set.
Okay. What's that?
I would like to tell a whole story, or
Okay.
3 stories. Which got triptychs.
Be in the cards.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to do like Ideal Comics.
I do a profile breakdown. In like this might happen on this day or this person. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, then my story card idea becomes a stretch goal.
I would say that or series 2 or series
Series
3.
two.
You know what I'm saying?
We'll see. Okay.
But I think it's funner and more flippant to have like Chad
That's not what you mean.
at all. I know.
Okay.
But more fun and less heavy. Just a small little breakdown of what Chad likes to do or what happened on this date or a small
So like really sell the character.
a character
Okay.
breakdown.
So
Yeah, we
I
do
remember
care.
our $20 level. I'd forgotten. $20 level is everything else plus an ash can.
Okay, that's right. All right, we'll go through.
Yeah. Guys, I need some sleep.
Oh, thanks for coming. I'm happy you made it,
I
man.
just went on the rack. You know, it's like
Oh,
probably should have been in bed by 8, but like
yes, you should.
I really wanted to meet.
Good.
I didn't want to go 2 weeks.
Well, this is
Okay.
good. Yeah, this is
We're
good.
getting really close to
So
Launch date.
our launch date. Yeah.
yes, we are. Next thing, before you go, with the
Yeah.
name in the book, like name a street. But
Oh,
the
yeah.
dollar
Yeah.
sign we want on.
Yeah,
it.
maybe like an Easter egg perk or something.
Well,
Well, I think we can do a couple, but what's the dollar amount we want for getting you a name.
Let's
Street
do
name.
it simple. Let's, you want to do tier 2 or tier 3? Or you want it heavier than that?
Yeah, I want big money.
Oh,
I'm talking big
fucking
money.
grease.
I'm talking $30.
Holy shit, man!
So you get the comics, you get everything, and then you get
Have a name street named after me in an imaginary comic is
But
not that big of a deal. But
that name will always be that street name. We're gonna, I mean, like we do other Fremont stories, they're gonna be, say if Bob Jones wants in there, Jones Road will always be Jones Road.
it would have to be Bob Jones Road.
Well, Bob Jones Road. Bob
Bob
Jones Road.
Bob Jones Road, man, because like there's a few John Jones Road. And
Well, yeah, I'll give you
there's no
that.
significance there. God damn it! All right, so
I'll give you that.
meet me halfway. Not too crazy.
Okay.
What do you think? Not too crazy. What do you have? 15.
Well, 15
I think we're at
is Comic
20 now,
Centerfold, 10x13, and the 9-card set. I'm thinking by the time you start picking your name in the book,
we can start naming
you get-
bodies after people if they really want. You know what I'm saying? I'm joking. I don't want to get too cryptic in this.
no, but I'm saying like you get like all of the stuff. So you get
Bob
the Comic
Jones
Centerfold,
She
the
was
other
named by a
poster,
monster.
the 10x13, the ash can, and
And the name.
you name a road out.
Bob Jones Wood. He was ate by the monster down by the wharf.
Well, the monster's like patting his lips.
Yeah,
With a t-shirt.
He's got a- yeah. Wow.
Bob says all roads are mine.
Very good.
Well, I suppose for enough money we will be willing
Yeah, I
to do
would say,
that.
yeah, depends there, buddy.
It happened on the corner of Bob and Jones.
That's a good murder scene.
Of
right
Bob
there.
and Jones. That's the
That's
best.
awesome. They are the intersection corner. Yes, I like that.
There I was walking through the Bob Jones Memorial Archway of Bob Jones.
Bob Jones Way. Off of Bob Jones intersection. Wow. Sorry.
And then of course,
Except
and of course our Bob Jones trading card.
Accept this reward on behalf of all the reticuloids I've killed.
Oh my gosh. Good gravy. Leave it to Bob Jones.
Buckaroo Banzai salute.
Oh my god. You're
After all of
name
that.
on the road.
After all that, that's what we accomplished.
I know.
fellas.
I'm okay with that. That was a good night.
Yeah. Good touch base again. Yeah, so tomorrow, Thursday, start getting back to work on Friday. With all this stuff. Because you're probably ready for another page.
Yeah, man. So let's just communicate with me. We'll bounce some ideas off.
You have something to work on. Meanwhile,
I have some. I like the page because I do the warm up, I do the page, and I go to something else I'm working on, go back to page.
$50. Comic, the centerfold, the 10x13, 9-card set plus the ash can, and your face on a monster.
Ooh, I like that. I like
Really
that. We'll have to now everyone might look the same.
Well, because remember, like when they go to the place, there's more than one of them, and some of them were alive, and some of them
Right,
were
no,
not.
I'm with
so
you.
you'll have like this horde of monsters, and then you'll have
One
like
of them
Bob
will
Jones.
look like Bob Jones.
Bob Jones.
They look eerily like Bob
I'm not
Jones.
sure,
What
but how about that singer? There we go.
a pipe in his mouth. What is this?
That's amazing hair, Rico.
Right. The Bob Jones. We should
Bob
call
Jones
that for.
stash. and
We
the
should
Bob-
call that for the Bob
Bob
Jones.
Jones.
The Bob Jones treatment.
The Bob Jones level.
That's
Just
right.
not level 50, Reese. Just put the Bob
The
Jones
Bob
level.
Jones.
Bob Jones level. Well, we'll discuss.
Oh! And to in relation to Black Belt Jones.
No.
No?
15 bucks, little man. Put that shit. You are not Jay.
My jungle love.
Oh,
I got to know
shut
ya,
up,
know ya.
fucking lunch pail.
We will go as far as to name the
Oh,
freaking
yeah.
orangutan
Oh,
Bob
yeah.
Jones.
Orangutan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jay and Silent Bob Strike
Oh,
Back.
okay.
They
Forgot
made them
about
eat
that.
our shit.
In prison, he'd be the pie. Yeah. I'm the pie walker. That's it. You never seen that movie?
A
Oh
long
my
time
gosh.
ago. A long time ago.
That was back before crazy antics of the. He's become a yes man.
Yes, man. He has.
Isn't that amazing?
That was such a bad joke.
Isn't that celebrity though? That's kind of like you start out as this rebel, this rocker, this the independent filmmaker,
Mhm.
and then you get success, and then the people who you've been trying to be accepted by ultimately, and you're wealthy and you're financially secure and something like, holy shit, I'm not who I identified with anymore,
I become
and now I'm a
whore.
shill.
Yeah. I become a whore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why I'm okay with artists destroying their own work at some point. Let's start over.
I love it when he was still a rebel. When he was talking shit about Prince. Yeah. And Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis.
Oh, have you seen his story of Prince?
No, I've heard about it.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, how much him and Willis got on this stuff.
All right, fellas. So I'm gonna get some sleep.
Yeah, man, go get some sleep.
Big
Have
day
a safe
tomorrow.
trip tomorrow. And yeah, you got everything.
All right, guys.
All right, bud.
See you later, Bob.
All right, man. I'm gonna.
I do the entire movie's bit. Jim Bob says.
Movies bit. Nice.
That's hilarious.
Oh, and Reese sent me something. Sharing shit with me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, man. I think I gotta call it.
Yeah, let's get the
So,
fucking out Dodge.
so. Well, for you guys in the chat, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully, it was entertaining for you.
Thank you for
I
tuning in.
have got to call it a night. I've got to drive to Lincoln tomorrow.
Yeah, everyone's driving long hours. Me,
Yep.
I'm just gonna sleep and then work late.
Yeah, call it good, man. Call it good.
All
So,
right.
anyhow, we will see you all later, and check us out on the interwebs, and we're getting ready to relaunch our campaign June 1st.
We are on Facebook. You can find us both on Twitter.
Yeah, we're on
And-
Twitter, and we'll be on Instagram before the end of the month.
There we go.
So, later.